Where do we search for life's deepest lessons? We often look towards ancient books. We seek out wise teachers in quiet, holy places. We travel to distant lands hoping to find enlightenment. But what if wisdom is closer than we think? What if it whispers to us not from grand podiums but from the forgotten corners of our own cities? Sometimes it wears worn-out shoes and speaks in simple truths, born from hard lives. Life has a way of teaching us in unexpected classrooms. The most profound lessons often emerge from the greatest challenges. Imagine the street, not just as a place of hardship, but as a raw, unfiltered school of the spirit. Here, life is stripped bare. The people who live in these conditions, those we often hurry past, might be unintentional gurus, holding keys to understanding what truly matters in this fleeting existence. Could it be that those who possess the least in material terms sometimes hold the greatest spiritual wealth? They may have discovered the quiet strength that lies within, a peace that the world cannot give and cannot take away. In the stories that follow, we will meet such souls. We will walk a little while with them. We will listen to their quiet wisdom, learned not in ashrams but on park benches and in shelter queues. Prepare to open your heart. Michael once had a life filled with noise. The noise of a busy job, a demanding schedule, a house full of things. It was a cacophony that never seemed to end, a relentless barrage of tasks and responsibilities. Then one day, the noise stopped. He lost his job. His home followed. The silence that replaced the noise was deafening. He found himself on the streets with nothing but the clothes on his back and a silence that was, at first, terrifying. The bustling city around him seemed indifferent to his plight. The city roared around him, traffic, sirens, hurried footsteps, but his personal world had gone quiet. This quiet was heavy, filled with an oppressive sense of loss. It was filled with the echoes of what used to be a constant reminder of his loss. Memories haunted him, making the silence even more profound. He didn't seek out mindfulness in a book or a class. He had no resources for such luxuries. It found him in the long hours of doing nothing, of being nothing to the bustling world. He started watching. He observed the world around him with a new perspective. He watched a single leaf dance in the wind for an entire afternoon. The simplicity of its movement captivated him. He noticed the intricate patterns of cracks on the pavement. Each crack told a story, each pattern a testament to time. He listened to the rhythm of his own breath, a steady companion when all else had faded. This rhythm became a source of comfort. He learned to sit on a park bench, not waiting for something to happen, but simply being there in that moment with the sun on his face or the rain on his coat. Each moment was unique and precious. His practice was simple, born of necessity. It was a mindfulness that emerged from the need to survive. When hunger gnawed, he focused on the feeling, observed it without panic. He learned to coexist with it. When loneliness crept in, he acknowledged it like a passing cloud. He let it come and go without resistance. He found a strange peace in this focused observation. It was a peace that came from acceptance. The chaos of the city was still there, the uncertainty of his next meal, his next safe place to sleep. But he learned to navigate it with a calm mind. But inside him, a small, still pond began to form. This inner peace became his refuge. He was learning to be truly present, because the present moment was all he could truly count on. It was a lesson in living fully. Michael's story teaches us a powerful truth. In the midst of chaos, we can find peace. In the heart of the city, we can find mindfulness. Sarah lived in a homeless shelter, a place many would see as a symbol of lack. The beds were narrow, the nights often noisy, and the future uncertain. Yet, Sarah carried a light within her. It wasn't a loud, boisterous light, but a gentle, warming glow. Every morning she would find a quiet corner if possible, or simply sit on the edge of her cot, and she would whisper her thanks. Thanks for the roof over her head, even if temporary. Thanks for the safety of the shelter walls, a respite from the harshness of the streets. She found reasons for gratitude in the smallest of things, things most of us barely notice. A shared cup of coffee, offered by another resident, was a gift. A kind word from a shelter volunteer was a treasure. The warmth of a donated blanket on a cold night was a blessing she acknowledged with a sincere heart. She would often say, "There's always something to be thankful for if you just look." Her eyes, though they had seen hardship, sparkled with an appreciation for the present moment, for the simple act of being alive and cared for in some small way. Her gratitude was not a private affair, it rippled outwards. When new, frightened faces arrived at the shelter, Sarah would often be the first to offer a gentle smile or a word of encouragement. She shared what little she had, perhaps a piece of fruit saved from her meal, or simply her time, listening to their stories. Her quiet thankfulness created an atmosphere of calm around her. It was as if her grateful spirit reminded others that even in difficult circumstances, there was still goodness to be found, still kindness to be shared. Sarah's life in the shelter teaches a profound lesson about gratitude. It shows us that even in the most challenging situations, the human spirit can find light and hope. Her story is a testament to the power of a grateful heart and how it can transform not just one's own life, but also the lives of those around them. Section 4. James's lightest load, the freedom of letting everything go. James used to be a man defined by his possessions. He believed that the more he had, the more successful he was. He had a large house, a fancy car, a wardrobe full of expensive clothes. He had a career that brought him status, and a life that seemed full, at least on the surface. He worked hard to acquire these things, and he worked hard to maintain them. The upkeep was relentless. His identity was wrapped up in what he owned, in the image he projected to the world. These things were his anchors, but they were also his burdens, though he didn't realize it at the time. He believed they made him who he was. Then, a series of misfortunes stripped him bare. His business failed, his savings vanished. One by one, his prized possessions were sold or repossessed, until he was left with almost nothing. The initial pain was immense. It felt like his world was crumbling. He grieved for his lost life, for the comfort and security he had taken for granted. He felt like a failure, a ghost of his former self. He clung to the memories, to the anger, to the injustice of it all. The weight of what he no longer had was heavier than any physical object he had ever owned. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, something began to shift within James. Living with only a small backpack, moving from place to place, he started to notice a strange feeling: lightness. It was as if a great weight had been lifted. There were no more bills to worry about, no possessions to guard, no image to maintain. The fear of losing things vanished, because there was nothing left to lose. He found solace in simplicity. He discovered that the less he owned, the less owned him. He began to experience a profound sense of freedom he had never known when he was rich. It was a freedom that came from within. James's journey teaches us about detachment and the true essence of freedom. Section 5. David's forgiven scars. From addiction's shadow to a mentor's light. David's past was a landscape of broken bridges and painful memories. Addiction had been his cruel master for many years. It had cost him his family, his health, and his self-respect. He had lived in the shadows, consumed by shame and regret for the harm he had caused himself and those he once loved. The weight of his past mistakes was a heavy cloak, one he thought he would wear for the rest of his days. He felt unforgivable, lost in a cycle of despair, believing he was beyond redemption. The turning point for David wasn't a single event, but a slow, agonizing crawl towards the light. It began with a flicker of desire for something different, a life free from the chains of his addiction. The path was hard. It involved facing his demons, acknowledging his wrongs, and, most difficult of all, beginning the journey of self-forgiveness. He learned that forgiving himself was not about excusing his past, but about accepting his humanity, his flaws, and his capacity for change. He also worked to forgive those he felt had wronged him, releasing old resentments. Now, David walks the same streets, but as a different man. The scars are still there, but they no longer define him. Instead, they have become a map of his journey, a testament to his resilience. He channels his experiences into helping others who are struggling as he once did. David's transformation is a powerful lesson in the redemptive power of forgiveness. Section 6. The Open Hand, Learning from Less, Seeing Anew. The stories of Michael, Sarah, James, and David paint a vivid picture. They show us that profound spiritual growth can occur in the most unexpected of circumstances. Amidst material poverty, they discovered an inner wealth, the quietude of mindfulness, the uplifting power of gratitude, the liberating lightness of detachment, and the healing grace of forgiveness. These are not treasures that can be bought or sold. They are qualities of the human spirit, awakened and polished by the harsh realities of life on the streets. Their lives challenge our conventional notions of success and fulfillment. These spiritual lessons are not exclusive to those who have lost everything. However, hardship has a way of stripping away the non-essential, forcing a confrontation with what truly matters. When the distractions of material pursuits fade, the inner landscape becomes more visible. The silence allows for deeper listening. The vulnerability opens the heart to simpler joys and more profound connections. Perhaps it is time we learn to see those who are homeless not with pity or judgment, but with an open heart and a willingness to learn. They are not a monolithic group to be stereotyped, but individuals, each with a unique story, each with a life lived. Their lives are an open hand, offering lessons not found in textbooks, but written on the heart.